Howdy doody. Welcome back to the ranch. My name is Mick. This is my 1966 International Harvester 1200A pick-em-up truck. She's a beaut, Clark.
It's a beaut, Clark. It's a beaut. You taught me everything I know about exterior illumination.
If you haven't seen the previous video of us picking this up, click the info card box, catch up. I go through a little bit of background and history with this here vehicle. She's a good one. Today, we start the process of getting it running and driving, but first, I gotta get it off the trailer. And if you watch the previous video, you'll know she fought us every step of the way.
Up.
That rear end is completely locked up. So let's get started. So this truck is a non-runner, non-rolling 1966 1200A. Pretty rare pickup truck. I'm really excited for this thing. I've been looking for one of these or similar to one of these for a long time. So I'm excited to get started. Unfortunately, when we picked it up, we didn't have any means of lifting the rear end. I totally fried my winch trying to get this on. We had a 7.3 diesel pushing it from the back. God bless that beefy rear bumper. Today, though, I have a little skid steer that's going to help us out. So the plan is lift this thing up, roll it off, and then we're going to get to work on that rear end trying to get it freed up so I can get it rolling. And then we'll put it back on the trailer, take it back to my place, throw it in the driveway, and get started on the process. So here's what we're dealing with here. She is locked up, solid. And don't worry, she's in neutral. I think the plan is what I'm gonna do first. I got it, lift it off the ground here. I'm gonna try and pop these wheels off, see what the brakes look like, if that's what's locking it up. That's what I'm hoping is locking it up, because I can just beat the snot out of it and see if I can get them loose. So we'll start with this one first. Let's get this tire off. These tires have seen better days. All right, so we're gonna start with heat first, and then, man, that sun is blinding. We're gonna start with heat first and a little bit of persuasion from the sledge, and then if that doesn't get it spinning, we'll pull the whole hub assembly and see if we can pry it off from there. But we're going to start with the easy way first. Doesn't sound like I have gas.
I've been working on the railroad.
Well, it's not looking good. I guess I can try and throw a skid steer fork on it. I'd rather not pull this whole assembly if I don't have to, but at the same time, I mean, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and do what you don't wanna. So I'll give it a try, hopefully without snapping these off. So I'll just tickle it a little bit.
Tickle, tickle!
No! 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 Stop!
All right, found this old drain pan in the bed of the truck. That's convenient, so I don't, spill anything. Let's start disassembling this hub, and we'll see if we can't yank the whole thing out. Where's my rag? I wish I had a cleaner place to put this, but I'm just gonna find the best place that I can. It's probably gonna be the trailer. Now, I've never opened one of these up before on like a truck like this. Ooh, that smells like pumpkin. Hi, honey. Hello. Not pumpkin as in like pumpkin spice. Pumpkin like the inside of a pumpkin. Like not good smelling. So we got a couple retaining rings and such, but again, I'm not familiar with this setup. There's usually like a little wedge that they put in here, and I don't see that, so this might just turn off. What are you telling me? Yeah. So here's what I'm looking at here. All of these, this nut here needs to be spun off. Spinned, that's not a word. Spun off, and then there's some retaining clips and such behind it. And then we should be able to pry this whole assembly off. I obviously don't have a socket that large. I also don't have anything to notch this nut. So let's see if I can't just get lucky. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's people just yelling at me in the comments right now. But hey, what's that saying? If it works, is it really a dumb idea? People do this all the time. I'm not a fan of it. I'm sure, it'd be nice to have the right tools, but I'm in the field right now. I don't have the right tools. Don't worry, I'm gonna clean all this before I'm done. How am I doing on battery? I think I'm close to dying over there, and I don't have another battery. I do have my GoPro though, so I could set that up. I'm just talking to myself.
You still talking to yourself?
So I should be home free to pop this out of here. Oh yeah, there's my bearing. Again, I'm gonna replace all this stuff, so don't get too picky there in the comments. I'm getting hungry. It's 5 o'clock. I haven't eaten anything today. Literally nothing. What did I have? I had coffee. Yep, that's it. Ooh! Found it. Oh. Ah. Got me right at the knuckle. That one's gonna feel good. I also was taking a hammer to the bumper, trying to straighten it out, and I did one of the classic swing and miss things. That one felt real good. Just kidding. No, felt terrible. Did not feel good at all. I could put my other glove on, as my dad would tell me. It's keeping my tailgate safe over there. Bless America. God bless America. Stand beside her. Come on, we're right there. I know it. Through the night with a light from above. Hey! Yep. Those drums were never coming off. They're not supposed to be stuck to the inside of the drum like that. The pads are completely seized to the drum. Not anymore. You know the best part about all this? I get to go do the other side. So I'll catch up with you after because my battery is dead. Oh yeah. Mission accomplished. I'm gonna get the tires back on, pack it in for the night, clean up, and I'll be back here tomorrow to throw this back on the trailer and get her home. We got it home. Unfortunately, it's rainy and cold and dark, but I want to get this thing off the trailer, so I'm gonna weather through the weather, jump in that bed. I want to empty out all the garbage before I tuck this thing away, so I'm gonna jump in the bed and see what kind of treasure we got. I'll leave the parts that I'm gonna keep in the bed for now, but I just want to get the garbage out, and then we'll come up with a plan on how we're getting this thing in the back. So let's get emptying. It is dirty back here. Start with these old tires, which came in handy for loading this thing up on the trailer because that's what we used as our little push guard in between that 7.3 Power Stroke and this thing. These are brake parts that I pulled off. I'm gonna keep those just in case, you never know. A couple old weed whackers back here. One weed whacker, two weed whacker, some old cable. I don't know what that's to. Looks like a battery tie down. I think that's for our battery, so we'll keep that. That's for the carburetor. Radiator, definitely gonna need that. Another tire. Brake caliper from something, definitely not from 1966. McDonald's. Oil absorbent. Probably not good anymore since it's been sitting in the rain. Ugh, speaking of oil, this is probably old. Yep, that is old motor oil with water in it. Dang. Carefully unload that and take that to AutoZone. Why didn't I bring a garbage can for all this small stuff? Broom. Could have brought one of those too, but I got one. Old tire off of something, but this is a 5 lugger. So not tire iron. I'm glad I got all 4 hubcaps to this thing, because those are cool. Would have been a shame if we were missing one. Free crowbar, Stanley. That's a win. Old bumper from something. That's all there. That's about it. Okay, I know you can barely see me. It got dark quick, but following the theme of just everything being redneck with this truck, we're gonna roll it off the trailer. I think I got the trailer tilted up just enough where it's gonna be easy to roll, but it's not gonna take off on me. And we're just gonna slide it right down the trailer. Worst comes to worst, if it rolls more than I expect it to, I got tires set up by the garage just as a crash barrier. I don't think it'll make it that far, but what do I know? I've never done this before. So I got a little wood block holding me still. I think I'll probably still have to give it a little bit of a push, but enough yapping about it. Got to just cowboy up and see what happens. All right, let's see if this thing will roll. Moving. Okay, here we go. Woo! Oh, perfect. Could have used a little bit more. I've actually never shut this door before on the inside, so I think I might have to open it from the outside. I'm locked in. Am I gonna have to Bo Duke it out of this window? This truck is just It's taking me for all I'm worth. We'll just say that. Don't dent the hood. Well, it worked. Honestly, it went as well as it could have. Of course, best case scenario would have been I would have tucked her right into the tires and just sat exactly where it was supposed to be, but I'll take this. I didn't wreck anything. The truck's safe, my trailer's safe, my house is safe. So we'll call that another W for the truck. I'm gonna back into this thing so I can push it a little bit forward and kind of get it seated where it's gonna be for the next couple weeks, or I don't know, maybe a couple months, who knows. Depends on how this thing goes. So chalk it up as a W. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's get to work on this thing, shall we? Here's the thing. I did some digging on it. I didn't find much. I know it's a 6-cylinder. I know it's made by American Motor Corporation, or AMC for short. But typing in the casting numbers or serial numbers, I don't come up with much on the lines. So I'll post them on here. Let me know if you know anything about them. I don't know anything about them. So what I know is I got a pretty simple engine. It's an inline 6. It's got a single barrel Holley carburetor on it. That's in shambles. So I know that I got to rebuild that. The ignition system looks to be pretty new, so it's probably going to be good, but we'll check it anyway. I don't got much time today, so the plan is I'm going to take that carburetor off and get it soaking in some carburetor cleaner. And maybe if we got time, we'll throw a battery in it to see if we could start spinning this thing over. However, for peace of mind, I'd like to check if it's got oil in it. And I don't see the danged old dipstick. Oh, there it is. You guys hear that dog behind me? 'Cause I do. Anyway, it's got oil. It's not completely black. It actually looks pretty good. I'm not sure if they added to it or if they changed the oil on it, but it smells okay. It smells old. So it's got oil. Let's throw a wrench on the crank bolt though, see if we could turn it over by hand. Like I said, just for peace of mind, and then we'll throw a battery in it, see if we can get it cranking over. Then I'll yank that carburetor off there and let it sit overnight, and we'll get to actually throwing some fuel at this thing tomorrow. All right, looks like we got a 1.5-inch socket for our crank bolt. It should turn over all right. Yeah, not a problem at all. I'll just take it through a couple rotations. I'm not sure the last time this thing was... No, this is perfectly fine. Not a problem at all. So that's good. All right, so here's what we're looking at with the carburetor situation. It's, it's just kind of taken apart. Things are thrown together as well, but it doesn't look bad. I know I got all the parts for it, or at least I think I do. It's just all, kind of laying in here. But from what I know about it, it's a Holley 1-barrel carb, a 1 BBL carb, and no, not the Kim Kardashian kind. It's a 1904, 1960, or 1908 model is what the rebuild kit says. All we're going to do is unbolt it, throw it in some carb cleaner, let it soak, and then we'll clean it up and throw it back together. All right, so we got 1 9/16. Yeah, 1 9/16 nut holding this on. The other side is MIA, not sure where it is, but our throttle return spring is kind of hanging up here too, and that's obviously not where it's supposed to go. This should just pop off of here. Yep, that's all there is to it. That's your single barrel Holley carburetor. Not much to it. Looks like it's all free. It's just dirty. So let's clean it up. All right. So I finally caved and got one of these gallon jugs of carb cleaner that everyone rants and raves about. But may I say, Mr. Berryman what is so dangerous about this stuff that makes this safety lid just absolutely necessary? I was near getting my grinder wheel out to get this thing off. Don't know why you had to do that to me. Any hooser. It is nice. It comes with this little drip tray, so you should just be able to kind of throw this in, but I think this drip tray is probably going to be a little bit too small for my application. I'm hoping to just throw this whole thing in. Hoping, come on now, fit in there.
Goo Lagoon.
Yeah. Throw this lid back on. We're just gonna let that marinate for a bit. When she's done, we'll pull her out, blow it all apart, and put it back together. So, while I got some extra time, why don't we put a battery in this thing, see if it cranks over for one, and two, see if it's got some spark. All right. Rob a battery off of another vehicle. Looks like we got some general garbage sitting in here, which I'll come back through and clean up another time. We got positive cable. We got our Nancy cable, the negative kind. Okay, don't fall through. Cool. Red pos, which of course this is a black cable, so not red. Negative. I hear crackling, so we're drawing power somewhere. And we do have, there aren't a lot of wires to this rig, but there are quite a few that are just kind of stripped and hanging, so just want to make sure we don't burn the thing down. All right, looks like we're good. I got my little solo dolo switch plugged in here, so I should be able to remotely turn it over without chopping my fingers off from the fan. I got my tea. I wish I had some tea right now. I'm kind of cold. Don't let the light fool you. The sunshine is nice, but we're awfully chilly today. And I forgot my hat inside, so my ears are freezing. And I'm sniffling. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Got my solo switch hooked up. Got the key turned. We should be hot, so I can press this button and turn it over. Fingers crossed. Here we go. She turns over. Kind of slow, but she turns over. So next step, like I said, I got my ignition turned on, so I should be able to just hook into one of these plug wires with a tester and see if we got spark. Okay, so if you don't have one of these cheap little hobo freight testers, which essentially is just an extension with a light bulb on it, so you could see when the spark comes through. You could do multiple things. You can pull your plug out, which is probably the simplest. Just pull your plug out and ground it against the block, and you'll see it fire off that way. You pull your cap off and just check if you have spark within your actual distributor. But the way that we're gonna do it, nice and easy, I'm just gonna zoom you in on the light bulb here. We're gonna turn it over and see if it's shining bright like a diamond. All right, here we go. Let me know what you see. Man, that battery is weak. What'd you see? Well, all right, we got spark. So that's good news. I'm assuming we got compression. That's kind of the last thing you need to check, because odds are you got compression. Although we've learned on recent projects that not all have compression. That's neither here nor there. We probably do. I hear a little gallop, so we might be off in some cylinders. Shouldn't be a big deal. We got spark. Last step is fuel. And then this should be an engine that should pretty easily fire right up once we have that thing rebuilt. So I'll end it here today, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. Well, it done did snowed, and it's cold out. Fortunately, the sun's out, shining nice and bright. Unfortunately, it's on the other side of my garage, so I'm in the cold. But I got my little space heater set up here, and that should work well enough to keep my paws warm while I'm doing this. I'm just gonna go through this real quick, time lapse it, and throw this thing together so I can get it back on the truck. However, if you guys want to see a more in-depth video of me taking it apart, cleaning it, putting it back together, giving a little more description, I will be happy to put another video together. I will friggin' take it off the truck again, tear it all apart, put it back together, and show you how to do it. What do we?
What do we?
Until then, I'm just gonna get this thing on a time lapse, throw it back together so I can get this thing running. Is this a bad idea, mixing carb clean with space heaters? Not sure, but we're gonna do it anyway. All right, ladies and germs, a little recap of where we're at. Carburetor is on, fuel line is hooked up. We know we got spark. We're gonna crank this thing over and see what we got. Unfortunately, I won't be able to run it too long because I don't have any sort of cooling system hooked up. And I thought I had a radiator, but I don't have a radiator. It came off the vehicle, but it came off the vehicle for a reason, and it's because there's a hole blowed through it. So we can't use that. I gotta order one. I think after this video we're gonna do more of a maintenance thing after I confirm it runs. And among other things, we're gonna fix up the cooling system. So for now, we're just gonna get it running. Like I said, I got the carburetor hooked up. Another thing that I need to do, all these fuel lines are pretty well chopped up, which I'm kind of bummed about because I could have reused the lines, but somebody cut the lines off, so I got to redo a bunch of steel lines, which sucks. For now, I got a little Cub Cadet tank up here with fuel line running through the hood. I got it all primed up through this filter, and we're going to hook that into where they hacked it off right here. And that should fill my carb. And we should be able to see this thing pop off. So I'm gonna make the final connection with my fuel line. We're gonna turn the key, see what happens. All right, let's see what happens when we hook in our fuel here. Hopefully my float works and I don't overflow my carb. Oh, immediately All right, well, I still got a steady leak from my fitting that connects to the carburetor, and it's pretty kinked up and bent up, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's not sealing well because it just needs a new line. So I'm gonna leave that how it is. The bowl is full and all my gaskets and float are all working, so I should be good to turn the key and see if this thing fires up. So let's get the ignition going and see if this thing won't pop off. Can't run it for long because I'm leaking, but let's see if it fires up. A couple pumps. I don't like that. I mean, the idle is just out of control. But why? I mean, my idle mixture screw is barely out. Wonder if I have throttle blade issues. Let's try this again.
Run.
Did not like that. All right, new battery in this thing because that jump pack was absolute garbage. And I spent $400 on that thing. Anyway, I know I'm having carburetor issues. We're gonna have to figure that one out. But for now, see if she'll run. That wasn't bad. There we go. Still having issues. Hey, it runs. Don't mind the fuel leak, but here's my issue. All right, so it runs, but it doesn't run well, and it's not anybody's fault but my own. The carburetor, something's off with air fuel mixture. It's drawing way too much vacuum. It might have a leak somewhere. I'm not sure. It might be the jetting. It's something, but the bottom line is I got to take that thing back off and go back through it, figure it out. But here's the thing. I can't run it too long anyway. I don't have a cooling system. That's probably as long as I would have felt comfortable running it anyway. So it sounds good. It runs good. It just needs a little more investigating, we'll say. But hey, it runs. And how about that little glass pack down there? I know it's rotted out, but that's pretty cool too. So anyway, will it run? Yes, it runs. but we need a lot of work. So next time we're gonna have to dive a little more into the carburetor issues. We gotta get our cooling system back on, oil change, all that fun stuff. So we got a lot to look forward to here. Once we get all that sorted, it should be a nice little reliable rig. Like I said, nice and simple. So I'm looking forward to this one. But this video just so happens to be coming out on New Year's Eve. So I wanted to wish each and every one of you a happy new year, but also a big thank you because it was a year ago in January that I decided to start this channel. So we've made a year worth of videos, and I appreciate all of you that are supporting me and following along. Thank you very much. So stay safe out there. I will see you all in the new year, but do not forget, don't be afraid to grab that wrench and get after it. I'll see you next time. We interrupt your show with our wildly regular segment, Who's That Dummy? All right, who caught it? Anybody? Simple mistake, but a stupid one. Usually happens when you're right on top of something. You kind of just overlook something really simple. But I found my issue. And if you watched the video where we picked this up, I very clearly pointed this out and somehow forgot about it. This is a 1/2-inch heater hose that was completely blown up from some mice chewing. That leads down to my intake manifold there. So there's my vacuum leak. So I cut it. I have new hose on order, but I cut it for now. Threw some paper towel in there just to get me by. Let's fire this thing up. Runs good now. I still got some adjusting to do on that carb, but man, that exhaust sounds terrible. But we got it figured out. My fuel leak just keeps getting worse by the second. Anyway, now, yes, she will run, and she'll run a lot better. So I'm glad I got that one figured out. Sorry for all of you that were just screaming at your screen for the last 10 minutes. Anyway, we got her going. So next time, we dive into the maintenance. See you then.